Man, we've accomplished a lot.
Have we?
I guess it feels like, although there's still quite a bit more to do, you know? We still gotta get those. We still gotta get more S ranks. Like, on all 18 or so levels. I mean, we got a 19th that's unlocked, but that's for a bit later, I think.
Yeah, it's probably nothing. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So this is another round of S rank runs. The cursed S ranks, as I like to call it. Because these are all done on Hope Eradicated, and the majority of the rules from the last one still apply, you know? 2 runs, one with weapons of our choosing and the other with stock weapons. Any implant is fine. We have random NPCs turned off. However, with this being Hope Eradicated, enemies do hit harder. We don't have Power and Misery on top of it. Hope Eradicated is its own separate thing. And we have an additional target in every mission except for 2. As well as some new implants to mess around with, like the Abominator, which will be used mostly in place of the Grappendix from now on, because it is fucking wild.
Yes, saying that something is fucking wild in this game, I feel like that lost its meaning about 14 episodes ago.
No, this'll prove you wrong real quick. Also, the extra targets in the missions, they don't tell you the names of them. They're always marked with a question mark. So you just have to, like, look at where the crosshair is on your HUD and go there. Anyway, that's the Abominator. It reverses your gravity.
I feel like something is wrong with gravity. You know, the only fundamental force we haven't fucked with yet.
That's like our personal gravity in this case, because it also doesn't cause everyone else in the world to, like, shoot up into the air.
Well, that's just a wasted opportunity right there.
Yeah, well, I think if that was the case, it would have to be turned into, like, a gun or something.
Just shoot them and they go whee off into orbit, like at the end of Santa Claus the movie.
So yeah, the Abominator is, like I said, fucking wild. Because it does reverse your personal gravity, but that has a major effect on, like, one of this game's, like, core fundamentals, which is how do you use momentum in crazy-ass ways to your advantage. When you reverse gravity and you start, like, flying upwards, or falling upwards, rather, that starts increasing your speed, and if you collide with something like a ceiling, that acts as the floor and you'll incur fall damage. However, because of the momentum gained from falling being real fast, as soon as it's like you decide to flip the switch again to change gravity back to normal, it doesn't cut off your momentum right away. You instead preserve it just enough as you go a little bit higher in the air before you come back down. So if you know what you're doing, especially in conjunction with certain implants like the Biojet, you can basically travel, like, large portions of the level in, like, the most insane, like, sine wave, like, motion possible. Just up and down, like, never hitting the ground or the ceiling or anything that could potentially, like, crush your legs and kill you.
Okay, so we've gone past science and are now operating on the Missy Elliott principle. Flip it and reverse it.
Correct. And it's like, just imagine my surprise of all things when it was like, I did not think there was a movement tool in this game that could possibly top the Grappendix in brokenness. But they did it. No wonder it's hidden in one of the end levels of the game, in a really hard secret area.
Feels like kind of a missed opportunity where if you hit your head off something, there isn't a dull thunk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that, but I am still glad all the same that it's like you don't take fall damage when you, like, collide with a ceiling, like, with your head. I guess just because it's empty up there or something.
Well, I mean, everything else in John Cruelty's life is empty. Why not his head?
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing that is, unfortunately, because because these speed runs are the first time I'm going through all these levels again on Hope Eradicated, that means that some of these NPCs that you could talk to include like the new Hope Eradicated targets. Some of them in other levels are immediately hostile, but like others are not, and you can actually talk to them for some unique dialogue. But that's kind of the antithesis of what like this goal is supposed to be. So unfortunately, you don't get to see that yet.
Yeah, I was going to ask if they had any new dialogue, just even the regular enemies, seeing as how we're in a whole new world.
Yeah, a whole new world with a skybox that is completely different from the last time we were in Hope Eradicated, because it used to be blood red and black. But now, after getting our answers from life, everything is green and blue.
Just as the prophecies foretold.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the last any like weird skybox or environment changes happen on that affect the game or on Hope Eradicated. Although another thing with Hope Eradicated as well that changes about the environment actually. All water is now toxic.
Hmm.
So yeah, don't think about swimming unless you got a hazard suit.
We just keep making this universe better and better.
Yep, absolutely. This stock weapon run for synth-based engineering always felt infinitely longer than just the stock weapon one, but it always surprises me when I look at the times, and I'm like, wait, how is that only 7 seconds slower?
Well, it's one of those things when you're getting through each level in about 30, 40 seconds. Anything longer than that feels like it's taking forever.
Yeah. Don't worry, you'll see what that third special target is in the stock weapon run. I'm still doing the exact same thing of, like, go up to the roof and, like, irradiate them through the walls.
It's Andy Kaufman.
Yep. And just highlighting as well, like, yeah, look at the gulf in, like, time difference between doing this with, like, weapons of our choosing and having to do this with stock weapons. I am not kidding when I say that, like, the part time for S ranks in Androgen Assault stock weapons on Hope Eradicated is 1:30.
Wow.
I shaved real close.
Once again, Androgen Assault proving itself to be the worst early level.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, like, much more manageable once you got, like, all the equipment you want to, like, quickly deal with them, but it doesn't make you feel any less, like, paranoid about what's behind the corners.
Doesn't make you hate it any less.
So, what's worse than one bouncy castle? How about two?
And you've got zero gravity. You could have made this the most fun ever.
Whatever. There's one thing to note about that particular room, because he's behind a door that can only be opened with Hope Eradicated. The idea is that there's actually an implant that you can pick up in that room, and I did pick it up on a previous run of this that unfortunately ended with an A rank. And so you don't get to see me pick it up, but it's another bizarre implant called the Cortical Scale Down Plus.
Oh,
that is
the shrinky thing.
Yeah, which makes sense. We did see some tiny doorways before.
Yeah.
So, and that will, unsurprisingly, be another thing that you see demonstrated in, like, the bonus video, where everything that I couldn't fit in these normal episodes will get their time to shine. Anyway, time to snipe from above. Or better yet, rearrange DNA from above. These runs I feel proud of because I find especially cruel and hilarious ways to deal with Governor Bill Gurney. The first was to give him the Cronenberg special. I still love referring to
that what we're calling it now, then, huh?
It really is just like the best, like, fucked up thing you could describe to, like, for when someone just is, like, disfigured and brutalized in ways that are beyond recognition or description. This one, though, I am especially proud of because it was something I wanted to do in the main game and the speedruns, but I just could not pull it off. But I got lucky here because I also had to kill a second target. We all know, all the way back in pharmacokinetics, that the toilets from the faculties are a biological weapon. They qualify as such. Eat literal shit, Bill!
In your face, U.S. government.
Like, the reason I threw it from there was because I tried throwing it from the entrance, but for some reason the gas clouds do not permeate through, like, his glass cage, even though the blast radius from the rockets do.
Yeah,
I remember being so upset when I found that out when I was trying to do the normal speed runs for this. So when
like one of the few times where that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's bizarre because of how, like, even though it looks like glass, it is, like, one of, if not the only instances of glass in the game that is unbreakable. Like, that's the whole idea.
Yeah, I remember that stymied my attempts at trying to get past that stage in the main game when I was playing it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have any of the grenade launchers or anything, so I couldn't just go foomp.
Anyway, we're not using the night vision goggles in the Dark World, funny enough, because it's like, the skybox is already pretty bright as is. and we don't need good vision to know where we're going when we can just fly through the air via reverse gravity.
Where we're going, we don't need eyes to see.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's like, in a weird way, Hope Eradicated kind of helps with visibility just slightly in the Dark World. Although in most other cases you do still want to have the night vision goggles, like I will here. A stupid telephone pole.
Ugh, mass communication. What's it ever done for us?
Yeah. Anyway, we gotta get into that farmhouse to kill the target, obviously. We irradiated him the first time, but we can easily just do it through the window. That's done. Do some quick travel with Grappendix plus Trank Dart. Hey, John. Oh god, fuck. Okay.
Course correct.
We got him! Yep, and that's going to be the end of all of our John Oliver-related jokes for this LP, because we are not going back to this level again.
But not necessarily for future LPs.
Maybe. It depends on what material they give us.
I'm just saying. Never say never.
Yep. Alright. Irradiate the landlord, and we got a new target. All I gotta say, who's ready to deliver a pizza ball? It's a golem with a pizza texture. He drops pizza when he dies.
Wow, horrific and delicious. Everything I've ever wanted to be in life.
Pizza the Hut would be proud.
Bring me Solo and the Wookiee.
So this is basically the way you go about it when doing stock weapons, because the high-powered sniper rifle is another one of those weapons that is very good for dealing with armored enemies like the golems. So we just hang back here, and he can't reach us because he's stuck on the roof. Stupid idiots.
Why am I picturing him being like, you can't do that, it's not fair.
I just want to eat my pizza that comes from my own body.
Look, I just worked out how to make myself bagels.
Pizza bagels.
They're not just for dinner.
It's just like, and everyone is just tired of his shit. It's like, oh, goddamn it, pizza bagel. Everything with you is literally a pizza.
Stop trying to make pizza bagels happen.
Stop trying to make pizza happen. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen like fetch.
Maybe this is why their universe is so fucked up, because they don't like pizza.
Well, like, if they liked pizza at the start, they don't like it anymore because of the quality of the meatoids being so low now.
Fair point, I suppose.
Yep.
So, seeing as how you were shooting that guy from upside down, does that count as a 180 no-scope?
I'll allow it. Yeah, this one's not too fancy as far as, like, difference in routes. You pretty much have to, like, peek out, like, into, like, the main foyer or whatever you want to, like, call that part of the ship just to, like, get that one, dude, because from, like, the upper area is, like, it's funny, because, like, the top level of the ship is like one of the best places to be because it gives you easy access to killing all 3 of the original targets. That 4th one is placed there explicitly because he's not like all the others. So it is the sort of thing where like the only like decent way to go about it is that you have to stay on the ground level just long enough you kill that one target and then kill the original 3 like normal. This one's a bit tricky because, again, like, using so much of the Abominator, I felt was also starting to eat away at my skill with the Grappendix.
Yeah, it's just when you go, oh, wait, left a bit, almost, oh!
Airborne sniper shot, no scope.
MLG Pro Strats.
Yeah. That was the only new target. So it's like, again, another situation where the core, like, method of dealing with targets in Alpine hospitality, not too different. But as you might imagine, the time difference is still, you know, gonna be a major thing when it comes to stock weapons. Because we can't use the bolt ACR to solve all of our problems.
Yeah, remind me, the bolt only goes through one wall, doesn't it? Or floor.
It goes like a fixed difference regardless of walls or obstacles.
Right.
It's just
okay.
like it's just a relatively short range, if anything.
Right, because it never seems to go through more than one wall or floor, but I guess that's just a fluke of how you've been using it and where the targets have been, really.
Yeah, like, it's more accurate to say it can only go as far as one room. Like,
right.
What qualifies as, like, an average room size in this game?
What qualifies as anything average in this game?
Fair enough.
No, it seems to be kind of a fluke that it only ever seems to penetrate a maximum of one wall or floor whenever you're using it, so...
Maybe, but I think that's clearly working as intended, because I don't know if, like, people would be ready for a game where you could just, like, fire a thin beam of gamma radiation that lands someplace halfway across the map.
I will point you towards Perfect Dark and the Long Sight.
The far side. Well, that's not radiation. That's just the world's most powerful armor-piercing bullets.
That's just the world's most unfair weapon in multiplayer.
Thanks, Rare.
Yeah, I'm still salty, Dwayne. We all had that one friend who did it, and mine was called Dwayne.
Calling him out for the whole internet to know.
Yeah, it's not like he's ever gonna see this, but, you know, I feel a bit better. Like 20 years later.
Or if he does see it, he's not gonna get, like, 20 videos into this point because he'll be so turned off by what's on screen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Dwayne is, and I believe, or was, and I believe still is, very much a mainstream gamer, and this is about as antithetical to his taste as you can get.
Yeah. So, okay. Oh god, that is close. Again, this is getting back to what I was talking about why Bog Business is my most hated level. This is where I started to really curse it because of trying to go for S rank runs on Hope Eradicated in this fucking swamp. Yeah, I had to finish it with the death countdown starting. So I tried to go, you know what? Fuck it. Abominator. We'll do that instead.
I take it you're still not using the hazmat suit?
No, because it's like I want to have like other implants that go in the chest area just for like better reliability and safety. Like, because it's like it's not. Yes, I think in this case I equipped like the bouncy suit as a fallback in case I mistimed like flipping the gravity and I took lethal fall damage. Like that was the idea. Because otherwise, if my arms were translucent, that would let you know, oh yeah, it's the stealth suit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like, yeah, with all the toxic crisis that comes from this level, combined with the low draw distance, of course it sucks. And we're done with that, at least.
Back to the glistening meat.
Back to going out of bounds, and what is probably the diciest thing I have ever done, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why. As it turns out, some of these don't have actual collision on the outside. Unlike the police station, where they clearly gave it enough collision to count as a roof, but it doesn't look like a proper roof. In fact, it looks like a roof is missing.
Could have gone a bit better, I think.
So what I have to do is land on these rocks because these are guaranteed to have the actual proper collision, and then this like fleshy meat square. Don't land on like the blood red ones because those you phase through. And then we go all the way back.
And also, don't forget to subscribe to my David Lynch and David Cronenberg podcast, Fleshy Meat Squares.
And the horrible implications.
Oh, no. No implications in this one, my friend.
Oh, it's your Patreon exclusive one. I see.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, time to use the same stock weapons route that we did before. It's basically like the same thing, but it's but obviously with like an additional target. We got to be very careful of since he's just swimming in toxic water.
Because why the fuck not at this point?
More bouncy castles. I don't even think that killed him. I just pushed him off the platform because I didn't want to be bothered.
I mean, gravity has already been proven to be fickle so far, so he probably survived.
Yeah. Oh god, vision tunnel. There we go.
Goddamn boors.
Now this is the best, the best order of how to go about these targets is to kill like the main one and then drop down that hole just outside, because that gets us close to like where the other dude is hanging out, in which just as like a bit of a preview as far as like what happens when you get to talk to him for his dialogue is that he is a disgusting piece of shit who just loves swimming in sewage. That's it.
See, when you said disgusting piece of shit, I was like, given this
Compared
stage,
to what?
There's a couple of ways you can take that. I don't know which one we're going for at this point, because who the fuck knows anymore?
Yeah, it's complicated.
Like, are we talking metaphorical or literal here?
Good old Fatberg. Time to kill you twice more. As well as your associates. Who happens to be in the office that I need to go to anyway, because that has the ventilation shaft.
Nice timing.
Yeah. Also, Golem is so stupid that it doesn't know how to go upstairs, so I'm safe. Also, did I say I was using the vent? I lied. I'm actually going over here and avoiding the floor because walking over it breaks open into the death room. I could have died there so easily because of the explosion.
Oof.
But now we get to see this again, the stock weapons. Avoid the necromech at all costs, avoid the golem. Just, they decided to stop hanging around in the one room that is designed for them to wait until some poor sucker goes in there. Or probably someone that Fatberg accuses of, like, cheating on the slots. And is like, okay, boys, here's your fun.
Yeah, that effect when speeding through the ductwork never fails to make my eyes cross.
Oh, God. Alright, here we go. Idiot party. Let's, we're not gonna, like, take the exact same normal route. I mean, we are gonna be dropping down this elevator shaft because it's the quickest way to, like, the priest of this party. But we're gonna have to go back up eventually to, like, find another target who's, like, like, in the middle portion of this tower. And it's a good thing we got the stealth suit too, because not only will people not see us, but also we can easily sniff out like another person who also has a stealth suit. Yeah,
I was gonna say, is he wearing one too?
Yep.
That's
I mean,
weird.
Obviously, and I say sniff as important because as we established, stealth suits irradiate like a disgusting odor that has led to people that wear them being colloquially referred to as shitmen. It's a pretty great description.
Funny because it's a terrible pun.
Yeah, it's terrible, but it works.
I mean, in this game, it's one of those rare instances where it's fully justified.
Also, I never showed that off in the original run-through, but it's like if you try to drop down in the center, you just get hit with like a huge bouncy pad that, you know, would otherwise like kill you as soon as you landed. But I used it to launch myself up to the entrance zone, to the exit zone, so it's fine.
I imagine that would be quite useful with the bounce suit.
Yeah, definitely. Now this one, it's long no matter which version of the run you take, but this was like kind of the next frustrating mission I had to like S rank after Bog Business because of, well, like multiple things. It's most of them having to do with the stock weapon versions, but it also kind of has to do as well with like the extra target they add to this particular mission, because it's not in any of like the other areas you would expect it to be, along with like the other targets where they're like in the actual club on the dance floor. The target we have to deal with actually is like, I believe it's a flesh pig.
Oh dear.
In this warehouse area that also has psychers hanging around.
And about 5 other flesh pigs.
Yeah, but it's this particular flesh pig you gotta look for. And then once he's done, you can get out. Unless he's blocking the way.
They are rather bulbous.
They are, and turn translucent when they're aggro. Which seems like a pretty powerful, like, mechanism in all honesty, as far as like if they're assuming they're the kind of creatures that would go about hunting prey. Like, them being invisible is not a defensive measure, it's an offensive measure.
I mean, it worked for the Predator.
True. So this is why I absolutely started to hate this level when it came to the stock run, because as you might imagine, there's no grenade launcher I can pick up. I can only get these nailers, obviously. But the thing is that the reason you keep seeing, like, there's those two crosshairs that are usually so close to each other, that's because it's like, for the longest time, I thought that room below the holes, like, I thought that was just one floor that had both targets. No! The floor that you see has one target, and then there's another floor below that that has the other target. It's why I was always confused, and when I realized that was the case, I was like, oh fuck, I literally cannot hang back when trying to, like, deal with all these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is how it goes. Like, yeah, you can kind of see, like, what the other floor was directly above that I was trying to, like, that I had to kill the other targets. Now I'm gonna go out the main entrance, killing the flesh pigs in the process. Zoom our way out, I brought the biojet.
Yeah, realizing that sometimes it would be, like, entire floors between targets, that's something that you need to get used to very quickly.
Hope eradicated versions of Office are basically designed that it's like you have to go inside no matter what, because of that particular shock trooper being up there. Although, I don't know, maybe, like, if you didn't aggro them all, you could probably get to, like, the outside wall and shoot the bolt ACR through it. But I wanted to, like, do this strategy on the inside just for variety's sake compared to the first two S runs we did.
Yeah.
Plus, like, bolt ACR, it's always fun, especially now that we are dead and we are immune to the effects of its radiation clouds.
Yeah, once you get the death surgery, it seems just a little bit broken.
A little bit, but not too much. I think it would actually be broken if the result was, like, it, like, drastically increased, like, your defense or something like that.
Oh no, I'm talking about with the bolt.
Yeah, it's a good thing that the effects that it imparts on you are ultimately minor, radiation immunity aside, because death surgery cannot be reversed. It's not like the difficulty settings where you can restore your divine light or things like that. It's like, no, you're dead forever.
There's probably some deeper meaning in that, but who am I kidding?
Alright. We picked up the heavy machine gun as always, headshot that fool. That's actually like the elevator shaft of all things. I forgot that didn't lead directly into the same room as Elsa, but we'll get there eventually. Because now we're going back outside.
At this point, you could be telling me that was St. Petersburg Cathedral. Like, spatial awareness has just gone completely down the drain.
Yeah, kinda. And I'm generally someone who has a pretty good sense of spatial awareness, even in games where like the actual level design itself is kind of made to be fucking.
Yeah, they're like, okay, so there's this office over here, there's this office over here, over there's Cairo. But like, okay, you seem to know what you're doing, I shall take your word for it.
Yep. Just one more target. Surprisingly, Elsa wasn't the last one.
Thanks for a change.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's mostly because, like, trying to juggle all of, like, this momentum preservation, switching gravity, while shooting, way harder than you think.
Really? Understatement of the day there.
Yep. Now, here we go with an S-rank run of Hope Eradicated Archon Grid, further proving that this is kind of, like, the least fun level when it comes to speedruns. Like, well, most boring level to speedrun, I would say. Least fun is Bog Business because it's kind of agonizing with the Toxic Crisis and low draw distance. This is just boring because, to the surprise of no one, we are taking the exact same fucking route we did before. Because it's the fastest and the safest, regardless of the new enemies that are added.
Giving the player all the options to do things their way is kind of moot when you only really give them one way to do things.
Yeah. I mean, part of that, I get that's kind of the point, considering that this is supposed to be you trapped in Gorbino's quest, which seems like this universe's, like, fucked up version of Pac-Man.
Equal parts Pac-Man and Zelda, I kind of felt.
A little bit of that, yeah. There we go. We killed the Braxes and we killed that special golem while keeping our distance. Thank God for the transactional rifle. I am never depriving myself of $1 million in holdings whatsoever. Unfortunately, we still have to do this with stock weapons, but fortunately, all these enemies still have, like, the heavy machine guns. So we can make up for it pretty fine. As well as the rocket launcher being dropped.
So I like how that golem at the beginning is busily T-posing to ensure his dominance over you.
Yeah. There we go, just kill these. Pick up the heavy machine gun, as I prefer, with the depleted uranium rounds. Because I love that they have to emphasize that, even as so far as having the radioactive symbol on, like, the magazine.
And it's still great. One of the lesser lethal things in the game.
Still one of the lesser outlandish things of this game.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
depleted uranium rounds have been used in combat in the real world.
Yeah, so it's like, that's its war crime, but it's not nearly as war crimey as literally reconfiguring someone's DNA. that they might as well, for all intents and purposes, be dead, but are still technically alive. Just, they're just like a horrible Cronenberg flesh beast. Not a flesh beast, a flesh art installation.
I think once you literally turn someone into concept art, not really much more you can do to them.
Yeah. So that's Archon Grid, thankfully. Now we get even more, get to do things in more fun ways now that we're in house. The area with, like, the most open, like, field ever. Perfect place to use the Abominator.
Yeah, after the shenanigans with the trank rifle, that seems positively humdrum.
But fortunately, it'll still get one last send-off. Don't you worry.
It's like you hooked onto a trank dart. Flipping gravity just does not compare.
Yeah. That said, even if you do manage to like prevent the fall damage when you flip gravity at the last second, that still doesn't stop you from occasionally bouncing off of the surface. And there we go. Back home we go.
Off to beddy bops.
Off to bed so we can do this shit again the next day. Whee! And we're doing things in the opposite order because we're going to this side of town first. Variety.
It's like, I imagine like the first 6 weeks of any kind of Spec Ops training where they teach you how to use zip lines and that is just stopping people from going wee. Because I do that shit in games and I can't stop myself from doing it. God knows what the pressure's like when the stake of the free world is... It's like when the state of the free world's at stake.
Wee... Voice crackles and distorts like GLaDOS.
They still say we, but they say it in a very tactical manner.
Yeah. It often also confuses people into thinking they're French. Interesting effect to note as well when doing the Trank Dart and Grappendix trick. If you do try and use it in an area where there is a ceiling, it will invariably hit the ceiling, and when it does so, it bounces down and kind of fucks up your like flight trajectory as a result. So it really is only good for areas where the only thing above you is the sky. Anyway, that's the fastest way we could do an S rank. Well, S rank in quotes, because, alright, here's the thing. I have no idea if this is like an oversight or Vilcalio just did not give a fuck about it in this particular instance. But,
entirely possible.
No matter what time you get when completing Cruelty Squad HQ in any of the 4 categories, when you check like your score and time, it always gives you a C rank. 17 seconds and some change is the fastest I did this on Hope Eradicated, and I got a C rank.
Possibly a hidden way of telling you that this was completely meaningless.
Maybe. It just feels odd considering you can still get the S ranks on literally every other mission. I think part of it is probably because, like, the level is weird in its design in the sense that there's not really, like, an intent to try and beat this on anything other than Hope Eradicated. Like, you have to open that door when you're cursed in order to proceed. The fact that there's, like, a Divine Light Orb is, like, kind of like a bonus.
Yeah.
If you really want to try that. Goddamn flesh rats!
No thank you. Please go away now.
Alright, but I'm still gonna snipe this dude, because fortunately It's funny, he actually left his post and, like, checked in the, the opposite area, because I guess he saw me, and that still left him open for a shot. But yeah, that's weird. Like, I still consider those times I got on Hope Eradicated to be, like, what seemed reasonable for an S rank. The fact that that the game doesn't even have different ranks for at least those 2 categories seems really bizarre to me.
Yeah,
but
like I said, it's genuinely hard to tell if it is an oversight or if it is just another way of saying, you know, dude, everything you're doing is pointless.
It feels 100% like an oversight. It's just like oversights for the non-cursed categories, I think, is absolutely the case. Just again because of how like if you were to die in that level on Divine Light, you would have to reload the level as cursed in order to even access that door again. It just seems like extra insane and like even more of an oversight that you can't then get an S rank for doing it when you're already cursed at the start of a level. But I digress. It at least records your time, though. I think that's still the more important part. Like, I can at least load up the game whenever I want and be like, oh yeah, here's all my best times. It's weird that these qualify as C ranks, but I did them as fast as possible.
I mean, at the end of the day, even like pretty much every speedrun community judges you on how quickly you did it on the timer as opposed to what rank you got. So yeah.
But that's all of the speedrun bullshit you get to see me do, save for one small snippet in the very last video, but it's not but it doesn't encompass the whole thing. This is just like this and the previous speedrun video are basically did what I was hoping that they'd set out to do, which is really demonstrate the versatility with how you can play Cruelty Squad. You can be as methodical and like as tactical as you want to be, given like the weird, like, even though there's no squad mechanics, like I mentioned before in the opening comparison, is like a bit of original Rainbow Six. But it's like it's cool to also see that there's like this game actively supports you going fast and finding creative ways to break shit.
Yeah.
So look forward to the next video, which is the actual final level. We're actually gonna get something close to a definitive end for this saga.